real cases before a real judge.
And now, enter the courtroom of Judge Mathis. Plaintiff Danielle Fry worked with the defendant's wife, and she ran into the two of them at a Halloween party. Danielle claims as they were leaving the party, the defendant's wife started yelling at her, and then the defendant cut her off in his car, got out of the vehicle, and punched out Danielle's car windows. So she's suing. Defendant Vaughn Shepard says 6 months before the Halloween party, his wife resigned from her job due to Danielle's harassment in the workplace. Vaughn says on the night of the party, Danielle was harassing his wife again, and he says Danielle kicked in her own windows.
All right, start with you.
My friends and I decided that we were going to attend a Halloween party. I was a schoolgirl, I was with the police, and then I was also with the vampire. Unfortunately, by the end of the night, we needed the real police. When we arrived to the party about 10 o'clock, I did recognize the defendant's wife as someone that I used to work with. About 11:45 or so, we decided that we were going to go ahead and head to another Halloween party. We were exiting the building, just talking amongst ourselves, when I noticed that the defendant and his wife were in front of us. As we're walking up the block, she turns around and she says, "Are you messing with me?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? No one's even talking to you." And she's like, "Well, we can handle this right now." I said, "There's nothing to handle." So they proceed to their vehicle, we proceed to our vehicle that's parked up the block. On our way to the vehicle, the defendant's yelling at us, calling us lesbians and other names and things of that nature. And we're just kind of like, yelling back and forth. And we go to the vehicle. My friend Ardell was driving. We come down the street, and I noticed that a black vehicle pulls in front of us and cuts us off. And I'm like, what is going on? So the defendant jumps out, and he's like, "Get out of the car, get out of the car. I'm gonna bust your stuff." And I'm like, whoa. So I proceed to get on the phone to call 911. In the meantime,
Get out of the car, I'm gonna do what?
Bust your stuff.
What do you mean by it? You're behind or something?
I don't know. Those weren't exactly the words that he used. He just said, "Get out, I'm gonna bust your." That's what he said. So he proceeds to walk up to my vehicle. He punches the front windshield. He then also punches the front passenger window.
Why do you think he told you to get out?
I have no idea. I really don't, because I'm like, "Get out of the car. You're a man, I'm a female, I'm 5'2".
No, in terms of if someone's gonna bust up your windows, they usually don't give you notice. They usually don't say, "Hey, you need to get out, because I'm about to bust your windows." It's usually not how that goes.
Right.
Go ahead.
So
far, he jumped out of the car.
and told me to get out of the car. He said, "I'm gonna bust your ass." And he just said that, so I don't know if you meant me or the vehicle, but he proceeded to walk up to the car. I was on the phone with 911. She was trying to maneuver down the alleyway, but it was blocked off. There was nowhere to go.
Oh, you had no way of getting around or backing up?
It was a two-way street, Your Honor.
Was it a two-way street?
Yes, it was.
It was a two-way street, but it was cars parked on both sides, and I'm on the phone with 911 trying to explain to them what's going on.
You couldn't back up?
Once she turned this way, she was trying to reverse back this way.
So couldn't you go the other way?
No, there was a parking lot here.
Go ahead.
So he proceeds, like I said, to walk up to the vehicle. He punches the front windshield. He punched the front passenger window. When she had turned and was reversing, he had came around and he punched out the rear passenger window. And I have pictures of that.
Okay. What caused all this hostility, do you know?
I have no idea.
Okay. This sounds odd. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna give you the history behind the whole thing. I didn't bust her window out. Actually, she kicked her window out.
Tell me what all this is about.
Okay,
what started?
Because
this isn't making sense.
My wife used to work with her. She was harassed by several different girls on her job, which made her resign from her job 6 months before this incident happened. I never go out, Your Honor. My wife got me to go out to this Halloween party. I had a clown mask on. I have pictures and all the trinkets and everything like that. But I had a clown mask on, a scary clown mask. We went there. She was dressed as a vampire too. There was a lot of girls in there dressed like vampires. We get there, we having a good time. We get in there, we having a good time. My wife goes to the bathroom. She comes out the bathroom. She comes back to me kind of hysterical because all three of them are surrounding her by the bathroom.
Let me hear from you, ma'am. Come on now. State your name.
Carla Shepard.
Yeah, I see there was something started this hostility. It was back when you were working with her.
Yes, sir. Our history goes back to 2008. I started a job where she was already working. I was never welcomed at the job. I assumed she was intimidated by me, but I never wanted her job, never wanted her friends. I was there to get a job done, to take care of my husband and my children. And I felt the hostility throughout. So I decided to resign. Upon resignation from the job, I submitted a notice to the state sharing my experiences, because throughout I shared the incidents along the way with the supervisors. They chose not to act on it, whatever. And then 6 months later, my husband and I are at this Halloween party together, and she's there with her girlfriends, as she said. I saw her at the party as I was going into the restroom. When I came out of the restroom, they were right in the area where I was leaving out. So they were coming on, you know, trying to start trouble from the beginning. So I go to my husband, he's dancing, and I'm trying to tell him, hey, Danielle from my former job is here. I'm not necessarily comfortable being here. We should probably go to another party or go home. He said, no, let's have fun. Don't worry about them, whatever. So we're partying it up. All of a sudden, there's this big group of people that come out to do the Thriller dance. It's a Halloween party, so they have a choreographed dance that they put on. All of us disperse. We have to spread across the floor to get away from the dancing area so they can dance. When the floor comes back together, all of a sudden they're standing next to us. Now I'm really uncomfortable because I don't like to start trouble, especially in public. A lot of people are watching me. I work in public. You know, I'm an outreach worker. I do a lot of community service work. I don't want my name diminished because of this nonsense. So I say to my husband, babe, let's go. Let's go get something to eat at IHOP. Go get the girls. I'm ready to go. And I can let him share.
And so we proceeded to leave. We was on the second floor. We go to the first floor, which was like maybe 30 steps from the top to the bottom. We get 5 feet from the steps. We actually look back to make sure we wasn't being followed. From the steps to the door is about 30 feet. We get to the door. We didn't stop, say hi to nobody, shake hands, kiss babies. We went straight through the door. I held the door for my wife. My wife proceeded out. Right before I let the door go, it was 3 girls on my heels, and it was them 3. And I held the door open for them, Your Honor. Didn't never know who any of these girls was.
If someone's gonna bust up your windows, they usually don't give you notice. They usually don't say, hey, you need to get out, because I'm about to bust your windows. That's usually not how that goes.
Plaintiff Danielle Fry is suing her former co-worker's husband because she claims he punched out her car windows. But the defendant insists Danielle was harassing his wife and she kicked in her own windows.
Held the door open, and what happened?
Okay, so we walk in, they get to heckling and all kinds of stuff to my wife. And so naturally, my wife gets to going back and forth to herself. So I naturally say, hold on, it's 3 girls against my wife, this is my baby boo. It's not gonna happen.
So what do you do?
I get to going back off with them and whatnot. So they disappeared, because the street is kind of dark, they disappeared down the road going south. And I said, who was that? She said, that was Danielle, and that was Danielle for my job. I'm like, okay, so what happened? I'm like, that's crazy. The 2 girls too work with you? She said, no, they're my friends. I'm like, why are they saying something? So it was an officer there that was working the party. He was on the sidewalk. He stopped me and asked me, what's going on? What's all this drama? I told him exactly what's going on. He understood. I got in the car. We was about to leave. We made a U-turn, which, like she said, was some cars on the street. We made a U-turn, so you got to actually back out to get all the way around to go north. So when I told my wife, hold on, wait a minute. She was driving. I was in the passenger seat. I said, let me go consult the officer real quick to ask him what we need to do. I went to consult him. While I got out the car, they flying down the street. My wife said, there's Danielle in her SUV. She trying to hit you. I turned around, I had my hands out like this. I had to dive out the way from the car from being hit by her friend. Danielle was they was all in the car. I came by the car on the driver's side, never hit any window, Your Honor, except for I went back towards the back driver passenger window. And I was by the window. She must have felt threatened, like I might have did something, where she kicked at me and shattered the glass. And there was an officer there the whole time. He grabbed my shoulders, told me to get in the car. We got in the car and left. They followed us 4 blocks down the road, chased us 4 blocks down the road. My wife, stopped at the stop sign, hit it real hard. They was like right next to her, where they can just grab her from their car and do anything to her. I got out the passenger seat, came around. They threw a fully Coca-Cola can at the car. They missed, though. Could have busted my window, or they could have hit my wife in the face with the can. And that's that. And then after that, Your Honor,
I do, Your Honor.
My wife called her lawyer and asked him what she needed to do. He said file a restraining order.
But the police were there, though.
There was a police officer there.
Right, so did he give a statement,
no,
or did he
just
take
told
anyone
me to
to
get
jail?
in the car and go. After that, she got served at work, and then a week later, she went and filed a restraining order. We went to court on that. The court, they asked us, went in different separate rooms, asked us what our side, her side, what we wanted to do. She said, you bust her window. I said I didn't. She kicked it out, and that was it. And then 10 months later, she's suing me.
You say with his hands, with his fists?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would
so
have
what-
broken hands.
Let me see if you have any. You would certainly have some type of scars.
He does.
You have
I
scars
played
on your
football.
hand?
I played football, track, basketball.
And the window was partly down, Your
Come
Honor.
closer if you don't mind. Let me see.
My hands would have been done. A windshield and another window.
I don't know, Doc. You can go back.
Your Honor, may I speak?
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I was on the phone with 911, and we followed them because they didn't have a front license plate, and the dispatcher's like, well, what's the license plate number? I didn't even know his name. If you look at the narrative on the police report, it just said Shepherd, because I was like, I don't even know this man's name. And she did file, we have restraining orders against each other.
Did the police see your
Yes,
car?
yes, and that's
Okay.
in the pictures as well.
I also noticed the left rear passenger window was broken out and glass on the
And
rear
he's saying I
seat.
kicked out of my own window, but I was in the front, I was in the passenger, I was in the passenger side.
It was a female that was laying in the back sideways. So
And she was, and my witness was covered in scratches and bruises, and there's even blood on my
Anyone want to
seat.
speak? You want to take any pictures of the blood or any of that?
You can
You can see the blood on the seats in the pictures.
She didn't go to the ER or anything.
He approached the car to ask Danielle to get out so she can approach me,
With
Your
the
Honor.
police officer right there.
So
The
that we
police
can
officer
hash
was
it
right there the
out.
whole
Why you
time.
get
There
out-
was a security guard, there was
Why
not
you
a
get
police
out of the car and
officer.
approach this woman?
I got out the car to consult with the officer that was
That's
there
not what
before
your
she even
wife
came
said.
down the
Your
street.
wife said you got out of the car to approach her.
Well, the police officers were there also.
They were
so we can
there,
all
but you
talk.
said who he was approaching.
Yes, sir.
You
The
said he
police
got out,
officer.
man, please don't overtalk me. I hear very well. You said he got out of the car to approach her, and the police were there. I said, why did you get out of the car and approach her? You said, I didn't get out of the car and approach her. I got out of the car to go to the police. So the two of you said two different things. Plus all those scars on your hands, sir, that's not from football. I can see very clearly that some of that is from cuts. It is very clear that your knuckles and part of your hands have been cut. I do not believe this woman kicked in her own windows. Have a good day. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Thank you, Your Honor.
My husband did get out of the car with the police standing there, approaching her so that we can all talk. That's what it was about, hashing it out, whatever her last words were. It had been 6 months since I left the job. We just want to hear what the heck was wrong with her.
There's nothing to be said. Tell the truth, nothing but the truth. So
That was
help
a
me
great
God.
story. I commend their storytelling, but it didn't work, so justice was served.
Yeah.